Hey, peace, peace, and peace. Hope everybody's doing well. See, man, listen. I actually just now got to really just chill because we was doing a bunch of some yard work today and cut down a tree. And I had to make dinner. Man, I actually started to um to actually video that right there. I made some teriyaki glazed pink salmon baked and white rice and corn. That's like one of my favorite meals. I love salmon. But yeah, it was slamming. It was slamming. But yeah, so it's like I'm actually gonna video this because I'm doing some actual work tomorrow. I'm starting. It's supposed to be like a 3-day project. I'm building basically like a roof. The lady wanted one of those portable gazebos, but she's had one before. And where she lives, the way her deck is, she lives like on a corner. Excuse me, y'all. She lives like, and so the wind, it tears any of those gazebos up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build like a roof on it where she can screen it while screening it in and everything. But you'll see, y'all get a chance to see my real skills, how it gets down. You know what I mean? But anyway. Besides all that, I want to. This is another moment of transparency, but it's for a reason. Obviously, it's always for a reason. Always for a reason. But anyway, I think I've mentioned this before, or I don't know. I've given this testimony so many times, but when I was 13, unfortunately, life had got the best of me, and I went. And like at that time, I was literally, because of my father and his reputation where we lived, like I was literally able to go to bars and buy beer. And so I went and got some beer. I had some bud, weed, marijuana, pot, whatever you want to call it. Um, and I went to my grandmother's, and no, yeah. I hadn't been homeless at that time yet. At that time, I just ran away, and so I went to my grandmother's house. And I went up into my uncle's room. Now my uncle was in the military some years prior, and but he got blitzed by some civilians, and he was messed up. And so he was on like a lot of psychotic medication. He had to be discharged and all that. So he had a bunch of psychotic medication. So I'm talking about maybe like 60 or 70 different bottles of stuff. And that's not even embellishing. Like the whole top of his chest of drawers was like covered with all bottles of medication. So I started drinking and smoking. And then I literally just started grabbing bottles. I didn't even know what I was grabbing. And I was like literally dousing, like swallowing whole bottles, chasing it with beer, whole bottles of these pills I didn't even know nothing about. Anyway, next thing I remember is waking up in a hospital with like tubes in my nose, something down in my stomach. I had been getting my stomach pumped for 3 days. But I didn't know that. The story, what I heard is my uncle came home, saw me passed out on the floor, saw all the bottles, so he apparently figured out what was up. So he grabbed me by my feet and like was shaking me upside down, trying to make me vomit. And then he called my mom, and they took me to the hospital. And anyway, as a result of that, I ended up having to go to an adolescent mental facility. And man, let me tell you something. I had experienced nothing but abuse, verbally, physically, in the streets. You ugly, at home you stupid, all this stuff. Man, those people, those nurses at that hospital treated me so nice. And I know they were just doing their job. But they treated me so nice that, don't you know, after 45 days, I didn't even want to leave. I really didn't want to leave because I had never been treated that nice. As a matter of fact, that's where I had a love for nurses at one time because of that. As a kid, I associated nurses with being nice, gentle, sweet people. And so even into adulthood, I had always wanted to marry a nurse. Yeah. Find out things a little different. But anyway, I ain't gonna go there right now. But my point for saying that is I'll be 53 years old in December. Which means this was 40 years ago. Almost 40 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And what that makes me realize, especially someone who has come to himself, I understand my purpose, and I reflect on the past, because there has always been lessons, there has always been things for me to build off of or utilize even today. And it made me realize that something that simple, just being nice, can impact somebody's life for the rest of their life. Do y'all realize that there are people to this day who 30 or 40 years ago, you said something nice to them or you did something nice to them and you may have even forgotten. But they haven't. They haven't. So my point is, man, it's like, doesn't cost anything to be kind. Doesn't cost anything to be nice. Doesn't cost anything to say good morning. If you see somebody, you're passing them in the morning. Doesn't cost anything to say good afternoon or good evening if you walk past their body. I never could understand the concept of two people walking past each other, making eye contact, and not even speaking to each other. That's crazy. If like some aliens that just fell out the sky right at that moment, or some kind of catastrophe or something, a threat to humanity, those two will have to depend on each other in that immediate situation. They will have to depend on each other. We got to remember that, man. There's nothing wrong with speaking. There's nothing wrong with being kind. The world is going downhill and it's going backwards because everybody's on this individuality, selfish. I got to get me and I got to get my likes and I got to get my validation and all this other nonsense. When you don't even realize that there are people out here who are hurting, who don't even want to be here anymore. And they're too afraid to do themselves in, or they just don't have it in them. But just a kind word, just a kind gesture, just some gentleness, just some kindness, just some being nice makes huge impacts. Try it if you think I'm joking. Anyway, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Peace.